Awesome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody had a wonderful Easter. And we're very excited that you're on our leadership call today with Carrie Bedard. And so let me just mute the lines here. Okay. All right. So we have the lines muted, and we are excited because today we have some special information and an opportunity to ask questions. So, Carrie, I'm going to just let you go ahead.
Awesome. I hope everyone had a great week or so and a wonderful Easter. And thank you for all your prayers while we were away on mission. They were felt. It's always great to come back and have hot water and electricity and all that. But it's always hard to come back too. So it left a little piece of me back in Haiti, but I'm getting acclimated. So I appreciate again the prayers. So today we're going to talk about placement and three-way calls. And then at the end, since this will be our last leadership call, you guys can just, throw out questions about this call or anything we've talked about or anything that's going on in your business. I hope you guys all close strong. We don't have the numbers yet. We haven't done our elite call yet this week, but from what I hear in the field, we had a record month in March. From what I've heard ramblings of, it's the best month in 2 years. That we closed the fiscal year like it's going to be unbelievable. So I hope everyone's ready to take advantage of all of that momentum that is going on and just feed off of all the teams. I think I heard they promoted 3 Pro 7s. So exciting to see that kind of growth again and to see all this hard work and people putting in the things they're learning, putting them actually into practice. Because I think it's one thing to hear things, it's another thing to put them in practice. And I want to praise you guys before I go into the training, because I know a lot of you have put into practice what you've learned. Not only from, being, with Julie and your team, but our leadership calls and the calls that you guys and your leaders have provided for you. I know I've heard that you've put in a lot of effort, a lot of promotions, a lot of pace setters. So that's what it's all about, is putting it into action and then duplicating it and teaching others what you've learned. And my hope and prayer is that you guys as leaders will then build your teams and have calls like this for a few months where you have leadership calls, because it's very duplicable. So first we're going to talk about placement. Placement's a sticky subject. It's interesting. It reminded me, I knew we were going to talk about this, but it reminded me on our elite closed group that we have. A lot of people have said, well, I've heard this way or I've heard that way. What do you all do? And I watched all the comments. And it's always very interesting because I've always learned one way in the industry, not just LifeVantage. And so I just decided to do that way. And a lot of people strayed away from it. It looks like they're coming back. And it's kind of interesting for me to watch. I was always taught to build 5 wide and 5 deep, and then to duplicate that and 20 customers. That's what I was taught. It was drilled into our head. It worked very, very well for me. And when I got in LifeVantage, it worked very, very well for me again. But what I learned along the way in some mistakes with that is that it does incentivize people to place under them. It does motivate people. It does keep them loyal, but it can also make them lazy. So that's the downside to placement. So what I've learned over the years is to place as a gift. And what I mean by that is there's no guarantee that that gift will be regular. It's a gift based on effort and based on what's mutually beneficial, that both parties are benefiting from the placement, and sometimes even more than both. But most importantly, that they understand it's a gift and it may not be regular, and it's based on their effort, and that it is, again, something that, when you get to a point where Julie and I are at and you have thousands of people under you, obviously when you sign up a customer, you can't just gift it to the same person every time or the same team every time or the same leg every time. So it's important that you let people know up front that the placement is mutually beneficial, that it is on purpose, It's based on a reward, based on activity that they've been engaging in or coaching that you've been doing, and they're doing what they said they were going to do. And that it's just randomly going to come their way over time. And that hopefully they'll pay that gift forward. And that's how I teach it. So I've never strayed away from how I place. So I started off doing five legs, 5 wide, and then 5 deep, and duplicating that. And then I don't want to go too much into Business Center 2 and Business Center 3 right now. Julie will spend some time with you guys if you don't understand that. But once that was built, then trying to do 3 legs in BC2 and eventually 3 legs in BC3 and building those. As far as customers go, it's very important that you're always placing your customers within the 30-day window, and you can do it yourself. Most of you probably already know, but if you go into your back office and click downline and holding tank, it shows you anyone you've personally enrolled, customers or distributors, that are still available to be placed, but it disappears after 30 days. So you need to keep track of that. You need to check it. I personally don't do any placements until after the 25th of the month. There's a few reasons for that. Number one is I like to see how many placements I have available to make to other people. And then I like to see what they've done that month, where everyone, what have they accomplished? What goals have they been going for? And more importantly, you know, who's $100 away from a rank? Or who's $100 away from a pace setter, or $40 away? Because not only do I want to help someone who's working, but I want to help someone who it's going to help them achieve something. It's not just a placement to give them $40 a month that's going to hit their PV. So there's multiple things that go into that. So you got to be aware of the timing. And then again, what I do is I look at, you know, who's doing what. I always place customers on my 3rd level. You've already probably learned this or seen it in the compensation plan. I know you guys had a comp plan training, but your 3rd level will always be your highest residual. It's the only level you can earn 9%. So you always want to make sure that you're placing on your 3rd level. And by doing that, what I love about this company is it blesses 3 people. So by placing someone on the 3rd level, you're getting 9%. The person you placed them under directly is getting 5, and then the person below them is getting 2. So 3 people are earning a residual off of that one placement. And in some cases, they've done nothing for that other than do what you've asked them to do. So everybody wins. And so a lot of people will say, well, my average residual check every month is about 5%. Well, up until Pro 5, if you're placing on that 3rd level all your customers, it's going to be higher than 5. My team actually averages about 7.5% on average up to Pro 5. And then we did a little study a few years ago with the Pro 10s in corporate, not an official study, but we just looked at it. And based on volume, once you get to Pro 5 and you're doing 20,000 a month in solid volume, it averages around 5% no matter what you do. Because you can't, obviously at that point, 20,000 in volume, you can't control where other people are placing. Some people you don't know what's going on. And at that point, it's just building under you, and it averages right around 5% of your residual monthly subscriptions. So hopefully that helps you to understand that a little bit. As far as deciding where to place distributors, that's a very controversial topic. Again, my thing was I just came in, got 5, placed 5 under them, and then built with those legs, helped them build. And then after that, I continued going wide. And we joke in network marketing, if you've never heard this before, it's a really funny joke. And in Arbonne, it was always talked about, is in network marketing and our type of hybrid compensation plan, it's the only time you want to be wide in your life. That was kind of our big joke as girls. So you just really, width is very important. And the thing I want you to remember is width is your paycheck and depth is your stability. Okay, so think of a table. You have a tabletop and then you have 4 legs. And in our company, we teach 5, even though there's only 4 legs on the table. So your width is your paycheck. It's what's going on right now. It's where you're eating at. It's what's going on right now. But your table legs are your stability. It's what's going to carry you the rest of your life through that residual income. So it's important to build up that width and build those teams and build those direct reports that you make the most money off of. But the depth, especially in a dynamically compressed plan that keeps moving up, your depth will always be your paycheck. It's what's going to take you through life. So again, I don't know, Julie, if you want me to stop there and take questions on placement or keep going with three-way calls or do it all at the end. It's up to you.
Well, we can, let's take one or two questions. If there's a lot of questions, then we'll have to hold the rest off.
Okay, sure.
Carrie, it's Christy.
Hi, Christy. How are you?
Doing good. Cheryl wanted me to ask you, with our spouses, they did not join with us, and how to enroll them and where they should be placed.
Great question.
Thank
you. So you cannot enroll your spouse. The person who enrolled you has to actually enroll your spouse. It's against policy and procedure for multiple reasons that I won't go into, and it's to protect you and your business. So basically what happens is you go to your upline, they enroll your spouse, and then they place them directly under you. Okay, so that's how that goes. It doesn't really matter what package. There's lots of discussion about that. I mean, certainly if you can afford it, it should be a platinum pack, gives you a bunch of product again, and gets your spouse off to a good start, but any package. And then as far as placement, again, some people place spouses under other people on their team. I really recommend just placing your spouse direct to you. If you're over a Pro 5 and you have a BC2, you can talk to Julie about that. But if you're over a Pro 5, you really should have your spouse enrolled and place them in your BC2 as a brand new leg, to help balance out your business and to really allow you to build in that BC2 and grow that BC2. But your spouse should always be a brand new additional leg, in my opinion, that you can build. I instead of enrolling my husband after I was enrolled, I enrolled my oldest daughter, and I built a huge network under her, got her to Pro 4. And that was money that paid for college all the way through for spending money. So there's lots of different theories on that, but it's important to get your spouses in as soon as possible. I think it should be really soon, like within the first 90 days, because again, they're a leg and you can start building that leg. And then your spouse, if they're going to be active, really challenge them to then go out and build that second leg. So you're working on one together and then one that they should start building. And that really gives them a good start. And if they're not working with you and they just want to do it, or you want to do it to help your business, then get them signed up, get them moving, and you can use that as a leg that you're going to build under them. So hopefully that answers your question.
Great answer. Do you usually recommend putting family in the same leg?
Great question. So yes, absolutely. And I've done that in a couple instances. I don't just believe in family in a leg. I believe in what I call as of types in a leg. And I'll explain that. So in other words, I have a couple medical people that joined me early. So anytime that a medical professional joined me, I put them in that leg, because it helped that leg to work together in a way that they could understand. And then I had a police officer join me very early in my business. Then he brought in some police officers, but I knew a bunch more. I put all of them together so that they were never competing for people, because they knew a lot of the same people. So that way they felt if one knew them and the other one knew them, they could place it under the lowest and they'd all benefit. So I tried to do a lot of that. Same thing with my high school friends. I had a high school friend join me. Any of our high school class went in that leg. So I'm just giving you a few examples, but yes, family. My mom joined me in business early on. Any customers I get in our family go under my mom. So it's important that you do that, because it stops there from being rifts along the way, from either knowing the same people or deciding where to put people. And then everyone can really work together, especially when they get a customer within that same network, because then there's no, oh, it's my customer, it's my customer. And you can remind them, hey, your commission may be $40 next week on that order, but residually we all win. So you really want to emphasize that that weekly paycheck is very short-term thinking. It's that residual that's long-term thinking. Because sometimes people go, well, if I enroll them, then I'm the one who gets this. And it's like, yeah, you might get $30. Here, let me write you a check. You know, I mean, it's in the big scheme of things, I don't even worry about my Friday check. It's not what's important.
Very good. Very good.
Any other big questions before we go on to three-way calls? Okay, well, we can ask some more at the end too, Julie. All right, so we'll go into placement, into three-way calls. And really what I want to walk you through with three-way calls, I know we've talked about them a couple times. Some teams utilize them more than others, but if you ask around to the elites, it is the #1 way people are building, by far. Over home meetings, over sampling, over one-on-ones, over group presentations, it is the #1 way. And it's definitely the most efficient way because no one has to leave their home. It's very intimate, even though it's on the phone. I promise you, it's very intimate. It really allows the validator to get to know them, to offer their assistance and their contact information so they don't feel like the prospect doesn't feel like they have to go through you to get to them. So what I'm going to do is just kind of explain the process of how we do it. I sent Julie a three-way call sheet, like how to do three-way calls. I know Brandon Cunningham and a couple other people have great YouTube videos on three-way calls, but they're very, very effective. So basically how, and let me back up and say that I also start those right away. So when I meet with a new distributor to go over the welcome pack and to kind of go over their goals, we do three-way calls at that meeting. So I ask them to set aside 2 hours for that initial training meeting that's one-on-one with me. And I make sure they have that 2 hours and that I do too. So no one feels like they're rushing. We go through the back office, we do all the welcome stuff, but also we call, in my case, we call Donna and Gabe and Jill and I introduce them while I'm sitting there with them. I kind of tell them about them and I introduce them. So they're talking to them right there at that meeting at the beginning to say hi. Then I have them make a list. If they could have anyone on their dream team, anyone they can think of that they would love to be in business with them, whether they're a go-getter or they're very health-minded or they've owned businesses of their own before, or it's their best friend and they would just love to travel with them and do business, I say write 5 people down on a piece of paper that if you could have your dream team, that's who it would be. And I don't tell them why, you guys, because if I did, they wouldn't do it. Because as you know, people are super scared and intimidated at the beginning. And once they do that, we go through some other things. We go through some language of how you would get someone on a three-way call and why and what the next steps are. And then I kind of hit them with it. I say, all right, now we're going to call the first 3 people on the list. And I'll be honest, sometimes they panic. I'm like, it's okay because this is the hardest thing you're going to do. The fear of having someone be mean or get hung up on or lose a friend, all those fears. So if we get them out of the way now, the rest of this is easy breezy. So we do those calls right there at that first meeting. And what that's, and I don't have really time to go into the language of what if someone gets a voicemail or what if you get them on the phone. Julie can go through that with you. We've already trained extensively on that, so you can spend some time on your next call with her. But basically what we do is we call and I instruct them to say, hey, Susie, if they get them on the phone, this is, Joy, and I'm sitting here with my new business partner. And, I just love you so much. Your name came up because you're so smart and you're so into health or you're so funny or people have always loved you. They have gravitated you or, people respect you in the community or you love to keep yourself healthy, whatever. And so I hope do you have a couple minutes to talk? And if they say no, you ask them right then, what time in the next, few hours or tonight would be good for you to set aside 20 minutes to talk? And they'll tell you a time. And then you have an appointment and you'll call back with me or with your validator. If they say they do have time and you say, listen, I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, I'm sitting here with my business partner. Your name came up in talking for all these reasons. And I'd love to put her on the phone and have her tell you what we're doing, like what this is all about. And just to educate you, because I want you to know, if nothing else, but to support me. And then the validator gets on and just tells them what you've gotten involved in. Not too much, but just enough to get them curious. Groundbreaking, natural nutrigenomics, helping people to literally biohack the DNA of their body to control their health, like something very basic. And then ask if they can send them a video link and that they're really excited to maybe get the chance to talk to them again another time. Then they give the phone back to them and they talk a little bit more and come up with the next step. But that's basically, everyone does it different, but that's basically, what we do. And then Not at the meeting, but at what I'll call regular three-way calls that I do all day, every day. I actually have one of my team members in Utah that's built her entire business on three-way calls all the way to Pro 3 already. So basically what we do is she lines up calls. She makes her list every day. She texts out in the morning, me, Donna, Gabe, Bob Triglia, a whole list of her upline, says who's available today and at what times, which I think is a great way to do it. She texts each person out and they text back, oh, I have 8 to 10, or I have, 10 to 12, or I have 1 to 3, or whatever it is. And then once she has everyone's availability, then she texts out her list and says to her text, to her people, I have something to share with you. When do you have 15 minutes today? And if they say, what is it? She'll just say, you will not believe it. I've been thinking about you. It's information you're going to want to know. Excuse me. When do you have 15 minutes? And they'll say at 4, and she already knows who's available then. So she'll say, great, I'll be calling you at 4. And then she'll get with whoever said they were available and say, okay, Carrie, I have one at 4 o'clock. We'll be calling you at 10 after 4. And then what she does is if she's in person with them, which is rare, but she'll show them ABC video, the updated video. And then when she's done, she'll say, listen, I really want to get you on with my business partner. You're going to have a lot of questions. If she's on the phone with them, she will say about 10 minutes before the call, she'll send them a link and say, watch this video. I'm calling you in 15 minutes. She doesn't ask them, she tells them. And then in 15 minutes, she calls them and says, hey, did you watch it? If they say no, she says, all right, I'm going to let you watch it. I'm going to call you back. If they watched it, which usually they have, she'll say, great, give me 1 minute. She won't say, hey, I'm going to bring my friend on or my business partner, or do you remember I'm going to get someone on the call, or is it okay? She says, okay, great. Hold on 1 second. She brings me on and she says, Susie, I'm glad you watched the video. I've got my business partner here, Carrie Bedard, on the phone. I told you a little bit about her. Amazing woman. You women are going to like each other. You're going to really just love each other's story. And now she's going to be able to answer any questions you have from that video. And then I get on and thank them for taking the time, praise them for everything Christine has said about them, and then just say, do you realize what you've just watched? You've watched history in the making. What did you think about that? And I do a lot of listening, but it's a great call. Sometimes someone signs up right there on the phone as a distributor. It's very rare. The next thing that's more common is they say, well, I want to try the products, but I'm interested in hearing more. Okay, great. So we right there, we get the order on the phone and Christine gets a link ready to sign them up for products. If they say, I'm interested in the products, but I'm not and will never be interested in the business, no problem. Sign them up on the products. If they say, I'm not ready for anything, but I'd like more information, great, we can get you that. And that's when Christine tries, if they're local, to set up a one-on-one to sit with them or bring them to an LVA or get them on another call or some other next step. If they're not local, then she's going to try and get them onto a virtual LVA or some other opportunity like Gabe's on Monday night or Donna on Tuesday night. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys a little snapshot of three-way calls, but they work. It's a big deal, and it's all in how you approach it, and really important that you don't give away too much, that you're super excited on the calls when you invite them in the verbiage in your text or your call. You're super excited when you get the validator on the phone and really lifting them up, who they are and how you think they will connect. My one distributor, Christine, probably does the best job of this, of saying, hey, Susie, remember, this is Carrie. I told you, she's a cancer survivor. I know your mom had cancer and it's a concern of yours. Or, hey, Carrie's a mom of 3 teenagers. I know you have kids in college too. She always finds a way to connect me with the prospect. And I think that's one of the reasons she's so successful, is she connects me and that prospect at the heart right away, so that prospect now wants to hear from me. They want to talk to me. They want to be able to relate to me. And that also helps me, because when I start the conversation, I'm like, wow, you have teenagers too? Where do they go to college? Or, what grade are they in? Or whatever. It just helps you to then initiate a personal conversation before you go into how you think these products and this business can help their lives. So hopefully that's helped you guys. And again, Julie's got some three-way call sheets. There's some great YouTube videos out there on three-way calls. But what questions, if any, do you guys have on that?
That was awesome, Carrie. And I really especially like the part that you just shared there at the end, where, you said that the bridge finds a way to connect the advisor with the prospect, then they want to talk to you.
Yes.
So I have found that also to be a big key.
Good.
Does anybody have any questions? This is your chance. For any questions on placement or on three-way calls?
And also, while we're waiting for the questions, I just wanted to let you guys all know, I think you all have my email and my phone number. But if you don't, since this is being recorded, my email is cbedard, B-E-D-A-R-D, F-L, like the abbreviation for Florida, at yahoo.com. And then also my phone number is 904-294-3861. And I would just respectfully ask that you guys don't share that, right now with your teams, that this is for you as leaders, kind of a gift, that if you need me to do three-way calls, I know you have an amazing upline with Julie and Kurt and everyone, but if you need me to do three ways, especially people who can relate to me, college kids, cancer survivor, 15 years in the industry, just whatever I can relate to with them. I'm happy to do validation for you guys on appointments. Also, if you have any questions from all these weeks of calls we've been doing, please feel free to email me or text me, call me. I don't want you to feel like this is it and you're cut off from me. If you need something from me, please feel free to reach out. And I've just so loved and enjoyed working with this group, and it's really been a blessing to me as well. And I'm so glad I got to meet all of you in person. And hopefully I'll get to come in for a cup of coffee in Anaheim and spend a little bit of time just saying hi with you guys and sharing your successes with you.
When you, a little while back, when you were discussing placement, what do you mean by BC2, BC3? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so Julie probably needs to spend some time just kind of sitting down with you. But basically what happens is when you reach certain ranks in the company, and I think it's Pro 5 for BC2 now, Julie, you'll have to correct me or look at it, but the company actually gives you a free leg, a leg that you don't have to get a package. You literally place an $100 order, and it's a new leg that they gift you with for you to build to help you balance out and grow your business. It's pretty incredible. No other companies do it. And then when you go further, and I believe it's Pro 6 or Pro 7, but I think it's 6, and I'm not sure. Again, they changed it this year, so I don't remember, but you get another one. So you get another free leg where you pay $100 and get another leg. So ultimately, if you look at someone like, we'll just say Gabe Pearson, Gabe has his BC1, his main business like you have, that is a Pro 10. And then he's got a Business Center 2 that he was given when he went Pro 4. That is one of his kids, I can't remember, and it's a Pro 7. And then he's got a third leg that is almost a Pro 7. So he is currently sharing as a Pro 10 in all the shares of the profit pool. And then as a Pro 7 in his BC2, he's getting another residual check and sharing in another share, a separate check, in the profit center like I do. And then in his BC3, once he goes Pro 7, he'll get another share. So it's a big, big, big deal. So it's important to understand it. It's something to strive for, because once you're eligible for that BC2, you have to be very, very wise about what you do with it. And I've seen people in my business wait like 6 months, a year, 2 years to open that BC2, almost out of fear. They just didn't know what to do with it. And they open it, and then they start making some money. But then I have people like my Pro 6, that's almost a Pro 7. She opened her BC2 when she signed up a professional network marketer about 6 months into her business. She put them at the top of her BC2. Smartest thing she ever did. She never even needed to coach them. They already knew what they were doing. So it was like this huge leg of business that she didn't have to really do anything with except partner with. And so she makes a lot more money than all my other Pro 5s and 6s, and honestly, almost as much as me, if I'm honest, because she did such a good job with her BC2 that her 2 paychecks together are almost as much as mine, because my BC2 is just a Pro 4. So it's interesting. So I've learned a lot, because that was something I never had a chance to take advantage of in my other company. So I didn't really understand it. And our sales managers at the time were learning. In their defense, they didn't really understand how to coach on that, and now they do. So it's a really big deal. So it's something you definitely want to learn about, and it's something to grow and really focus on as you go towards Pro 5 and Pro 6.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Great. Any other comments or questions? Okay, awesome. Well, Carrie, you've been such a blessing, and we so appreciate all that you've poured into us and just your integrity and your caring heart. And I really, it really blesses me that you have just offered to this group, a continuation of being support to them. And so you're very special, Carrie. And this is one of the things we love about LifeVantage, because we're cross lines, and but we have a bond and a friendship, and we're all in the LifeVantage family. But you are a great trainer, and you've done a fantastic job with all of us. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, you're sweet. It's absolutely been my pleasure.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone.
All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you,
And
Carrie.
you're welcome. I look forward to seeing y'all in Anaheim.
Yes.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.